traveled to Atos to do a session and we got to roll. So then I was
you were walking in trying to do the gi class and I was like, I think that was you, right? And I was
yes.
like, come do the Nogi class.
You're like, Nogi. So that was super awesome. I'm super stoked that we got to like train, and I'm even more stoked that you're here today. So.
For sure. I didn't even know you had a podcast, but as soon as you told me, I was like, yes, of course.
Yes, I love interviewing everybody, especially because John Evans is someone who I trained with. And when I mentioned that we rolled, he said something about, oh, she made it really far in ADCC.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, really? He's like, oh, yeah, she was really good. And we were kind of talking about it. So definitely wanted to ask you a little bit about that. And then we'll go back to like the beginning, I figured.
Yeah, sweet. That sounds good.
Cool. So how was that? How were the trials?
Really good, actually. I think that was probably one of the best performances I've had. I'd never actually competed like in an event that was 2 days in a row as well. So it was a lot of new experiences for me. That was my second trials. The first one I did West Coast trials in 2019 as a purple belt.
Nice.
I think I lost like first round or something, getting used to the points. Like I used to have like competition anxiety. So this time I had a really good camp. I was training really well. I was drilling a lot. And I went in and I had a really good run. Like I thought I was going to do okay, but I kept winning matches and I ended up getting to the semifinals, I think. So I got fourth. Yeah. And it was a really close match as well. So I was right there at the end, which was frustrating, but also pretty motivating, to go through some of the really tough opponents I got to face.
Getting up there. That's a huge.
Yeah. I got to go against people I've been watching since I started. I got to go against Tammy Musumeci.
Oh, how was that?
I won the match. I had a really specific game plan for that match.
I was gonna say,
like I know her game. I know she's great at back takes. So I kind of was like, let's get to where points are involved and wrestling's involved because I really like wrestling.
Yes.
And that worked. So I fended off, a couple really good back take attempts. I think I got a takedown. I landed with like a guillotine or something. I think I got a pass for it. And then I kind of just, kept practicing. And it helps that I train with, a lot of girls who have great back takes. Nikki Sullivan, really good at back takes. I train with really high level girls. So I was a lot more prepared than I thought I was going to be. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I felt it when we rolled. I was like, oh, dang. Like,
yeah. I've been working my wrestling for, since I came to Atos, I really started falling in love with it. So I was excited to go into a competition where it was wrestling based. You're rewarded for attempting takedowns and standing and all that. So it fits really well into how I like to compete. Submissions. I'm a huge I much prefer sub only than points, honestly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because it's like just get to it.
It's exciting, you see a lot of action, a lot of people going for stuff that's risky, and it just makes it really fun.
Yeah, it really does. I love it. So now let's go a little bit back to the beginning about what got you started training in the first place. When did you start training and why?
So I started training, I think it was 2016. I think I was about 16. I'm 21 now, so I've been training about 5 years.
Nice.
I was powerlifting. That was like the sport I was doing, lifting really heavy, in the gym. And then my dad recommended, he's like, oh, I want you to go try something out. Like, it'll be good for you because, you're shy and it'll be more social. So he just Googled jiu-jitsu schools near me. And I was living in New York at the time in a place called Poughkeepsie. So he found a local school. I went, and literally the first class I learned one arm bar and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this forever. No matter what. And then from then on, I just I've been training almost every day since then. I moved out to Atos when I'd just gotten my purple belt. I went and visited a couple times and I told them hey, I'm going to move here. I'm definitely coming back. I'm definitely getting out here. It took me a while, but I moved out and then I just started training at Atos and I definitely got so much better in such a short amount of time. I got to meet all these different girls. I got to experience so much different styles of jiu-jitsu. Had to learn how to train in the gi for real. That was rough. So, it was, but I started just basically to try something new and I just fell in love with it. Yeah. So
you just caught the bug. You caught the bug.
It was immediate. I mean, I'd never felt something that like gave me that like release and that like high. So I just had to keep doing it all the time.
I
But I
totally
didn't
get that.
start with the intention of like doing it as a sport. I was just doing it for like mental health and like, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like for fun. And then it just kind of turned
Yeah.
into like, well, and especially training at an academy like Atos. Like, did you start competing before you moved to Atos, or would you say you started like feeling a little more like competitive when you were
Yeah.
there?
So I was competing. The coach I had he was super into getting everyone to compete a lot. He really believed in it. I hated it. Like I hated competing. It was like I loved everything in the whole sport except that because I was so anxious when I used to compete. It
I feel
would
you
get
there.
me for like weeks before. I would just be like in my room, like, I don't know, man. Like I think I have to, and it'd be like a naga, you know, it'd be something stupid.
Yeah, you're just
Um,
like,
so I'd never done IBJJF, but I'd done like grappling industries and like local tournaments. So I had some experience, but definitely once I started doing IBJJF and training under people who competed all the time at the high level, I was like, oh, okay, you know, I'm going to learn to be good at this because it will help me, you know.
there was like a new ceiling.
It was a new ceiling. Yeah. When you go to a school like that, all of your ceilings go up. Like I went in and got I got beat up every single day by girls, and I was like, but I was a blue belt, and I was a good girl at my school. Like,
yes, that's accurate.
Yeah, exactly. You go in and you have like 4 black belt girls just beating you up. You're like, do I like this or do I want to leave?
Well, I like it because like I feel like, man, like you feel it coming. You're like, I know it's gonna happen and I can't stop it. And it's just like,
yeah,
it's great. Like, and it
it's amazing.
Makes you really have to watch it, like to not not get
it's hard. It's a hard adjustment at first. I remember I was butthurt every time I left training. I was like sad. Like I was like, it hurt. It hurt to get beat up so much. But then slowly over time, obviously, like you have to get better and you have to adjust. And then it's not as bad. And then you end up like enjoying when you find people who are challenging you and you realize that that's actually the only way to get better.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because if you're the best in the room, then how are you being challenged, right?
Yeah, that's just ego. If you want to keep that, you know, it's a safe thing
no,
to be like,
you need to like go and get it then at that point, right?
Yeah,
so
comp
that's what
class
you did.
at Atos was really what showed me what's up.
Oh yeah, like that's crazy, and I can only imagine. Like I haven't been to a comp class there, and I can imagine it would be like a whole other level.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think the first time I ever did a comp class that showed me something like that, I went to JT Torres' school, Essential. So I trained there a couple times. I think that's actually how I found out about Atos, because his school is in New York. So I went there. I was like, oh, like he's really good. Everyone here is really good. And then I learned where he was from, and then I was like, I want to go there.
And how was that, like the comp class at that place?
At JT's, insane. He's crazy. He's crazy. Like I remember like the warm-ups, I was like, oh, I'm gonna puke, like I'm gonna pass out. And it was just the warm-ups. It was like and there was, when I first got there was no AC, and it was like summertime in New York, and it was just like it was just crazy. But I loved it. It's like
why do I like that? I do love that.
I have no idea.
I'm like, what's wrong with me? Because like same thing. Like I remember my first comp class, I think it was like in 2016, and it was hot, and it was like a Paragon warm-ups. I don't know if you know much, but they make you do a ton too, and you're like sweating and you're tired, and then you have to do the everything after. And I was just like, I had only been training 6 weeks, and I was just
oh my gosh.
Yeah, or I think maybe that's when I competed. So I had only actually been training like 4.5 weeks before that comp class. I mean, I had been doing Spartan races before. So
you're used to like being in physical
like
discomfort,
gritty kind of situations. But I'll tell you, jiu-jitsu, I mean, I've done Olympic lifting, powerlifting, half marathons, nothing like jiu-jitsu.
No, there's nothing that compares. I mean, like I've competed in powerlifting. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to move heavyweight, but it's way easier than having another human being like push you to your limits, because there's a whole different like mental aspect involved.
Yes.
With you versus someone else versus just you versus you.
Yes, so true. it's like their idea versus your idea and combating that. And that's just
and
wild.
ego gets brought in too, right? Especially if you're a competitive person, which I'm a competitive person. So
yes. And then also adrenaline and all the different like spikes. You feel
you
it.
have a real fear of getting hurt, like you have a real, that's always there. You're not like safe.
And it's ironic because I found for me personally, like when I'm in that state, the adrenaline spiked and I'm training, and then it comes down later, and then you're kind of like you feel like something a little, you're like, what was that? But you didn't notice it at the time because your adrenaline was high, and you're kind of like, oh yeah,
especially in competitions. I mean, that's a whole nother thing. I'll pop my foot and I'm like, I think, I'm fine. I'm good. I don't, oh wait, that hurt.
Yeah. The next day you're kind of like, oh.
That brain power really just goes above any like physical pain you're feeling.
And so right now, since you're like obviously training, like how many days a week are you? Because I know for me, I'm like an addict. Like I'll train like as much as my body will let me. So I'm assuming you're kind of.
It's the same. I've gotten better over the years. I used to overtrain a lot, just like over spar at least. Like when I first came, I would do comp classes, and then I would come back and do night class, and I would try to lift in between, and it was too much. Now I try to train every day, but it's not necessarily like sparring as hard as I can every day. I try to incorporate more like positional, or like maybe on the weekends I'll just do like a lot of drills, but I'll still get a lot of work in. I think that's just like something where you have to balance that urge where you want to just spar all the time because it feels good. And then you have to balance that with, okay, what's actually going to like, how am I going to train like a professional? Like what's going to make me better? What's going to actually improve my game? How am I going to learn? Because you can't just learn by just going balls to the wall all the time.
Yeah, that doesn't.
So I do train probably almost every day, whether it's drilling or sparring or both.
You just kind of mix it up. That's smart.
For sure. Yeah.
I'm definitely, I had some things happen that kind of forced me to find that balance, because before I was just like, go. I was training twice a day and lifting is too much.
Your body will tell you, like I was getting injured and I'm like, oh, why am I getting injured? Like, I should be strong. I lift and I train all the time. Oh, like you're training too much and your body is telling you to slow down.
Yes, exactly. And so now that you did those trials and made it so far, I'm assuming your eyes are set on the prize for, next one, right?
I would love to, my goal is to win ADCC, of course. That's my goal. The plan is go back, win the next trials when they come up. Hopefully there'll also be more spots for women. Hopefully they'll increase the bracket to a 16-woman bracket or add weight classes.
Yes.
But the plan is win the next trials and win ADCC. I think the next couple of years, I'm only 21, so I'll still only be 23, maybe 22. Yeah. So I think I have time, and I'm definitely going to accomplish that goal.
So exciting. That's so stoked. Oh man. And so like, other than that, like obviously that's kind of, I feel like I always tell people, they're like, what's ADCC? I'm like, it's like the Olympics of like Nogi submission grappling. It's like where you want to make it. So do you have any other aspirations like for like gi tournaments as well? Or is it mainly just?
Definitely. I want to keep competing in the gi. I know just in my heart that I love Nogi the most. It's definitely my passion. I'm going to put on the gi and do, tournaments all next year. I didn't have a camp I was able to do for this Worlds. That's why I'm not doing it. I had a job I was really busy with. But I definitely want to do Nogi Pans, Nogi Worlds, and then hit some gi tournaments here and there next year, do Worlds, stuff like that. So I definitely want to keep doing all the opens and winning all the big IBJJF tournaments as well.
That's awesome. It's funny how Nogi creeps up on you. I avoided it. I think I avoided it for like 4.5 years. Right. Yeah. I trained for 4.5 years in just the gi only. I took maybe like 3 Nogi classes. And then now it's like, I find myself.
Yeah. I actually hated Nogi when I started.
Isn't that funny?
I despised it. I think it was because I was young and there weren't that many girls, and the closeness of like the Nogi training felt kind of scary with the guys. Yeah. And there were so many big guys. So the gi felt like kind of a barrier between them and I.
That makes
But
sense.
once I got some skills and I was able to like actually defend myself, I was like, wait, Nogi's actually way more fun. Also, like heel hooks.
Leg locks. I was gonna
Leg
say leg
locks.
locks.
Leg
Like,
locks, yeah. I was at a school where like they would teach you leg locks as like a white or blue belt and just
yeah,
learn it, do it.
just learn to do it safely. It's kind of like learning how to use a gun young. You just got to do it safe, and then you know how
Yeah.
to do it how to do
I
it
mean,
when
you
you
can
need.
rip an armbar just as fast as you can rip, like a toe hold. Like you can definitely
You just
hurt
have
people
to.
in other ways.
And like I think sometimes people like often will heel hook themselves trying to twist out of like someone trying to get
That's
an
the
ankle
thing.
lock or something
Yeah,
like
that
that.
like the first time I like competed with heel hooks, I think I turned the wrong way and I popped my own knee. I think it's more that than other people hurting you.
Yep. Yep. It's you knowing the direction of
Yeah, or like
understanding it.
if your knee line's in, you're not safe, but like you have to find like, oh, where am I safe to, turn a bunch and not gonna twist my own knee.
Yes, yes, because that is one thing I'll definitely say. Like I've been a corrective exercise specialist for 10 years now, working with knees, and
Oh my
so
gosh, help me.
yeah, so I got you. So basically, like I've seen all the different kinds of tears and rips and
Yeah.
strains, and helped rehab them with and without surgery, and preferred a non-surgical route if possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy how sometimes I'll see someone with just doing like someone gets a straight ankle
Mhm.
and then they go to stand up out of it and they go to twist out because they're still new and they do it
Mhm.
very like, violent and they'll tear their own
Yeah,
ACL
I've
doing
learned
that.
to like, you have to get good at like, oh nope, they're gonna turn the wrong way. I'm just gonna let them out because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
you're like,
gonna be the one to do this. And then
exactly.
afterwards, be like, hey, next time, try not to flip your entire body and twist your own knee.
Because you're gonna tear your tendon and it ain't
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
It's the same thing, if you're doing any other kind of submission, you can force yourself deeper into submissions everywhere, you
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah.
it's easier when like you can go both ways and you don't really know which way is gonna hurt until it's too late.
Any of the twisting submissions are really because
Scary.
like in the moment I think people forget, right? But like for me,
Mhm.
like I've gotten to a point where I'm comfortable, right, with leg
Mhm.
locks. I like them a lot,
Yeah.
and I know I'm probably gonna like go to BJJ hell for this one, but I mean I teach my students
Yeah.
how to do them because like Texas clover leaf, all that, like
Well, it
we do
takes a
we
while to get comfortable with that kind of stuff. So I think it was helpful for me to have it introduced so early because even if I wasn't like super high level at it, I was aware of it. And I was
yes,
aware of the positions where in the future I was going to need to be aware of it in a
yep,
tournament. So, it's hard if you do the old school route of like, hey, we're not going to introduce this until you can do it because then you have all this time that you weren't even aware of it where you could have been working on it or at least like put some effort towards it.
so true. And like I always had people, I mean, where we were all training, we were all personal trainers. So
Mhm.
like we would just be grabbing stuff like, does this do something? And in the
Yeah.
and and then it's like turns out it's like trying to do a toe hold and you're
Yeah.
like brand
Yeah, you're just like, "Does this hurt? Does this hurt? Does this
does this
hurt?"
we're all like, this is
I
this
still do that sometimes. When you get into those, like, weird leg lock positions, sometimes
you
you find something, you're like,
yeah,
"Does this hurt at all?" Like, I
like yeah,
remember did you ever learn the, like, Z lock, like, the hip lock from, like, Honey Hole?
I feel like that's me, but I haven't done it.
It's
I
basically yeah, it's basically like a Kimura for your hip, but you wouldn't,
yes,
like, think to do it.
yeah, and it kind of and you feel it like I've definitely done it to me. I just haven't done it.
Yeah. One
Uh,
sec, your connection
oh,
cut out for a second.
back yet. Let's see. Sometimes it will go in.
Yeah, I can hear you, it's just like
Yeah, it's a big bear. It's like a lot of times when we get a lot of tourists up here.
mhm,
Literally, I think there's like 2 hours on the mountain or something.
mhm.
So when it gets saturated, it's pretty crazy. So,
Yeah.
back in. Am I good?
It's wait, just okay.
Sort of. As long as you can hear me, it's totally fine. You don't have to see me.
Wait,
Still breaking it.
a little bit, yeah.
Darn it. It's normally this, but
I don't think it's
here,
my
is it?
Wi-Fi. Oh wait, yeah.
No,
We're
it's
good.
me. It's me.
You're
It's
good.
me. It's Big Bear. It's Big Bear. It's
Fair.
always Big Bear. Yeah, it's the mountain. Every time we get tourists up here, or just anybody really that's not a local.
It's fine. I lived in New Mexico. Our internet was like almost non-existent. It was terrible.
Is it pretty high? It's pretty high altitude there, right? Like
Yeah,
60
it's
to
pretty
7.
high. Where I was outside of Albuquerque. I think we were at like 7,000, but there were places where we were almost like 10,000.
Nice. So you naturally have like better cardio, right?
Yeah, when I moved from New Mexico, I went to New York actually, and I was like, wait, am I like really good at running?
Yeah, no, it's true because we're at 7,000 feet here in Big Bear.
Oh, I didn't know it was that
high. Yeah, right here. I know the lower part of the valley is like 6,700.
That's a lot though.
Yeah, it's good, you know.
When you're coming from sea level, that's pretty high.
Oh yeah, like I feel bad. I sometimes see it when people come up, they get kind of like pale.
Yeah, I got altitude sickness when I moved to New Mexico. I was sick for like weeks. Like my body was like it had never been at that high of altitude. So I'm from Iowa, like I'm from like flat.
It's rough. It's rough if you're not used to it. Some people are naturally fine, but I've noticed a lot of people struggle with anything over 5,000.
When you start to push yourself and then you notice it.
Yeah, you'll do like one round and then you're kind of like
that was harder than it should have been.
And everyone's like, wait. So I was like, so for you, other than the tournament training, are you just doing jiu-jitsu full time now, or do you also have like a?
So I was working at a coffee shop, and then I am quitting because I'm starting school in a few months.
Nice.
I'm gonna go to UCSD, get my bachelor's, which is fun. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, congrats. Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm definitely gonna learn to balance training and school again. That's always fun.
Yes.
But right now, yeah, I'm doing jiu-jitsu full time. I also just started a gi company for women. So I am looking to work on that and make that really, popular. And that's kind of my summer goal, a little project.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And what's it called one more time?
Kimono Boutique.
Kimono Boutique.
So basically the MO is I'm trying to make really well-fitting and modern women's gis. I have so many gis that they either fit terribly or they're really flowery and like girly, and I just wanted something that was like clean, sleek, tailored to females, has things that we need. I have little like hair tie pockets, they're high-waisted, so stuff like that makes it comfortable to train in, because if I'm going to train in the gi, I'm going to be comfortable.
Yeah, I feel you there.
For sure. I'm going to do like rash guards, spats, shorts, everything eventually. I just had to get in the gate, start it up.
Awesome. That's so great. Awesome. Yeah. And then is there like, do people order it like through a shop right now?
Yeah, I have a website. It's like www.thekimonoboutique.com.
Awesome.
Website's up. You can just order it right there. I do international shipping, local delivery. So
sweet. I would definitely check that out. Go support that. That's really cool.
Also, my photographer is amazing. She was a photographer at ADCC. Her name's Nancy. I think her Instagram's Nancy V Photography.
Okay.
She's done a lot of the product shots for me, and she's trying to like get into ADCC. She does photos for a lot of the big tournaments, and her stuff's really amazing. So she's helped me out a lot. And I met her at trials. So
that's awesome, because I know like Jiu-Jitsu World League's looking for people a lot of time too, and they got.
I think she was there actually. Yeah,
they do such really cool videos for those tournaments.
They do. They really do.
Can we just do that like everywhere? We want that.
I saw like a gimbal. I was like, oh my gosh! Like, if I could have myself competing like that, I would feel like I'm in a movie.
Right? It's like pretty legit.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's so cool. Awesome. So definitely hit her up too if you're looking for a photographer.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I'm gonna have to definitely get down there again. And
definitely, we want you to come train. We always want more girls to come train.
Yes.
I think we're gonna have a Nogi Camp starting up soon as well. So our comp classes will be Nogi. So pretty excited for that.
That's gonna be really cool.
Yeah.
That's great. Awesome. And then do you have any, what, I wanted to ask you something, since we're both women who've been training, for about the same, because I started in 2016 too.
Oh yeah.
But I'm older though. I'm 31. So It's my competing, I've had 3 kids and stuff, and it's like when you compete, you know how it is, people snap it on and
Oh
everything.
yeah.
And it's a little different for me, I'll still do it for fun, but not to that degree. But I would say I love seeing younger women competing, right? So do you have any advice for like women who are just starting out training, as far as how do you determine what kind of person you are in jiu-jitsu, like whether to be a competitor or more of just like a, you know what I mean?
I think for me, it was basically just, I've always followed the advice in your life of like, if you're trying something new and it scares you, but you can still do it, you should try it and you should go for it. So I think if you don't know what kind of person you want to be, I think you should just try to expose yourself to everything. You should expose yourself to competition, give it a good shot. If you don't like it, don't do it. But it can definitely teach you things that just training doesn't. I think it shows you a lot about your mindset. It pushes you in a way that can be really beneficial for your growth. So I would say just try everything and just talk to people and try to gain their experiences. Talk to the higher belts. If you can find a woman who is, a higher rank, who's done some of the things that you don't know, maybe if you want to do, just talk to them. And pretty much everyone I've met in this sport has been really helpful. I've never met someone and been like super intimidated or, anything like that. Everyone's always just trying to share their love for this sport from what I've found. So I think just surrounding yourself with, a good gym and a good group of people. And if you can find some girls to train with, it'll show you like what you can do. Because that was the thing for me, is I was scared because I didn't have as many like idols that I was looking up to. So when I came to Atos, I was just like, oh my gosh, they're all doing what I want to do. And like, I'm going to go ask them about their journeys,
Yes. And it definitely helps. Definitely like going to like the SoCal Women Open mats and things like that.
And just be careful with who you train with. I think the main thing I've seen is women who get kind of freaked out about training are people who maybe they're training with guys who are like lower belts and they're kind of spazzy and they get hurt. So I would say just like, it's okay to say no to rolls. It's okay to say no to certain people that if you're afraid you might get hurt, like don't do it. Because that experience could kind of push you away from the sport. And, you don't want that to happen.
So true. Yeah. And so important, because I definitely will say when I started out, I'm not going to lie, I was way too anxious to say no to rolls.
Exactly. I felt like I couldn't say no, even if I was nervous. But it's actually now I'll be like, no, like I'm not going to roll with you because I'm not going to get hurt. And it's nothing against you. Like you're cool. I have to train tomorrow and I don't want a big white belt dude spazzing on me and breaking my ankle.
Yeah. Especially if we, how they roll, or if you're not sure, you could watch them a little bit, get an idea and decide.
Yeah, be careful at open mats. Like be careful. Don't roll with anybody. The only times I've gotten hurt are usually with people I don't know,
Yep. Generally speaking, that's how it's been for me too, just going around and, just kind of someone comes up, hey, and you're just okay. And
for sure. Being able to say no and being able to like use your voice is important. And that's what the sport is for. It's to like to empower women and give you a voice and make you feel confident. So don't be afraid to like speak your mind,
So true. I love that. Yeah, I definitely, it's funny. I say, I think all women should do jiu-jitsu if they can handle it. Cause it changed me a lot. I was always an anxious person. I'd see someone and I'd cross, I'd like cross across the street, hold my purse tighter, be nervous, now it's like,
jiu-jitsu helped me with anxieties, like not as much just like being afraid like physically, but just like I couldn't talk to people. I couldn't order at like restaurants. Like I was really socially anxious. And you go to a jiu-jitsu gym, everyone's going to talk to you. So it was really important for me to get in there, like make some friends, like have something where we're all, having the same passion. That's really cool. It's a really unique kind of experience because you get all these different kinds of people who you probably wouldn't see in the same room. And you get to talk to them and train with them and you're all there for the same reason. It's a very unique thing. I've never seen anything like jiu-jitsu.
It's so true. And in the community, it like everyone's there on the mats,
Mhm,
and even if you're anxious to talk to people, because I had really bad social anxiety. I still
mhm.
do. It's still awkward, but I just,
I'm so awkward, so yeah.
but if I know you do jujitsu, it's like instantly like we're like, oh, or any kind of martial arts. I'm like, whew, great.
Yeah, I know.
If
I
the,
would be at work, I would be at, like, my coffee shop, and I would see, like, someone with cauliflower ear, I'd be like, "Hey, do you train?"
you
Like, "What's up?" There's always that connection because you know you have that same thing in you that, like, drew you to jujitsu, you know?
so true.
Yeah.
So true. And like even if you're anxious to talk to people, pretty much everyone on the mat's gonna be down to like,
Oh, yeah.
hey, how are you?
Yeah, like, "Hey, how are
Welcome.
you? Like, you wanna drill
Yep.
this?" This yeah, it's been nothing but good for me, I would say. Yeah, I haven't had too many, like, bad experiences in gyms and stuff like that. It's been really helpful for me.
It's generally like a family.
Yeah,
You're
generally it is, and if it's not, then there's gyms that are, so there's always, like if you start at a gym and you don't like it, there's so many other places that maybe could give you something that you could really enjoy.
And it's important because it like one thing I tell people is you are technically trusting your teammates with your life, right? Like
Mhm.
because
You
we're
are,
putting
yeah.
ourselves in and your limbs, you're getting in
Yeah.
chokes, you're getting in potentially situations where you could break something. And so it's super important to find an environment where you do feel comfortable,
Yeah, I
right?
totally agree,
To
yeah.
be like physically vulnerable with your teammates and because that's how you're gonna get better,
Yeah, every person you roll with, you're trusting them with some amount of your safety.
Yeah, it's true. And
Yeah.
that's definitely something that I always tell people, like, just keep it in mind and just surround yourself with the right peeps.
Yeah, definitely, and there's plenty of them, so
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been super cool to like hear about your journey and your training. And I look forward to training with you more.
yeah, definitely
Like,
make it back. We should definitely plan something, hopefully come to Atos again, be awesome.
yes, yes, I have my rash guard, so I'm
Nice. I
ready.
have extras if you need them.
Sweet, I'm ready. Well, I hope that you have a great day. Are you training today? I'm
Of
assuming.
course.
I was gonna say, I'm assuming,
Of course.
what time are you training today?
6:15 class tonight, Nogi class.
Sweet. Yeah, I got like privates scattered throughout the day. So
Nice.
yeah,
I love
just
teaching privates.
honestly, like privates, classes, any kind of teaching for me, I love it.
Me
So
too, it's so fun to just share what you know. You're like, "Oh, it took me so long to figure this out. Here it is." Like,
yeah,
"Oh, now
just
you get it.
take
It's
it
so
all.
cool."
I like give it all right there because
Yeah,
I try not to hold it back. I'm just
yeah,
like,
because I just love it.
then they get you and you're like, oh dang, now I'm having to
Yeah, you're like, "Oh, I didn't mean to show you that. You shouldn't do it on me. Do it on them."
so accurate.
Yeah.
uh, well, I hope you have a great day today. I look forward to training soon.
Yeah,
And
thank
thank
you
you
so much.
everybody for joining.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you having me on. It was fun. I love talking about jujitsu.
Oh, of course. And you post techniques all the time. So I would
Yeah,
definitely go follow. Can you shout out your handle real
yeah,
quick?
it's Amanda Bruse .bjj. My last name's Bruse.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely check it out because some of her technique videos are super fire. I repost them. They're great.
Thank
So,
you.
all right, everybody, have a good day. Happy training.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.